It can't be that bad, oh, 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 it can't be that bad. This movie I haven't seen since maybe like when I was like in early college. When did this come out? 2009. So I haven't seen this around like maybe like 2013. I think I was messed up when I was watching this.
Same.
And it's like the worst idea.
Yeah. I was like over at a friend's house and we were just like toking out the entire house. Yeah. And we were like, one of my friends was like, hey, you want to watch this like hella crazy ass movie? I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? Mm-hmm. And it was just like, they just randomly put it on and I was like, okay. And the first few seconds, there's no warning.
Intense. There's no trigger warning.
No warning whatsoever.
Because it's just literally the credits.
Yeah.
It starts off with the credits saying like who's working on this, who the direct. We see and Gaspar's name
flashing neon lights
20 times, right? They just really make sure that this is his film, which we already know by the look of it. Yeah. That this is a Gaspar Noe film.
Exactly.
And I was watching this on my phone at work.
Overwhelming, yeah.
Yeah, my AirPods weren't working. I thought they were working. And it just starts off so loud. And I'm like, oh, gosh,
intense.
Turn this shit off.
No, it's hilarious because it's like epilepsy warning for any baddies out there. Like before you get into this movie, don't, be careful because
this is a dangerous film.
Yeah, right, it can be very dangerous. Yeah. But it's also like it's supposed to like explain like what you're getting into kind of right off the back. It's like preparing you like for the intensity of what you're about to get into. Because it's like right off the back, basically, it's just like it's first person POV, and I want to say out of like a lot of films that I've done POV, this is probably one of the best films that I've seen do first person. Very honestly. Well. To the point where like one of the first times I saw this, it gave me anxiety because I was just like, oh my God, like this is so like realistically in first person that I was like kind of stressing out. Because like the part where he washes his face and he's like blinking and it like the shutter flicks when he's blinking, it would freak me out. I was like, oh fuck.
It's showing every time that this person blinks.
Yeah.
Even the way, did you see the way he throws water on himself?
Yeah.
Like I've washed my face before. Yeah. Even when I messed up, he just throws the water on himself and it's all over his shirt.
Yeah.
It is okay. Before we get deeper into it, let's welcome the baddies, dude. So, welcome to another episode of ICBTB podcast, also known as It Can't Be That Bad. This is a bad movie podcast for you first-time listeners. But if you're here for your 407th time, welcome back. We have Gregory Salais in the studio once again. Alejandro, we are still wishing you a speedy recovery, and we'll see you soon. But what is up, baddies? If you haven't seen this film, it is definitely worth the rent. I think it's maybe free somewhere with like a premium subscription to something. But if you are thin-skinned and light of heart, is this movie for you? Probably not. Really. Probably not. If you're
into like shit that's like shocking and like thrilling and super intense, yeah, sure.
If you're into uncomfortable nudity, this might be your thing.
Extremely vulgar.
Yeah. Extremely vulgar. If you're into seeing people take illicit illegal drugs and it doesn't seem like the best trip, this might be for you.
Yeah.
You want to tell them what we watched, Greg?
We watched Enter the Void.
Enter the Void.
And I say it like that because it's like that's kind of like the movie.
That's really that's the just feel like, of the movie.
Enter the Void.
It's so scary.
Just this like the intensity of it.
How is this not classified as a horror thriller?
Right? I would classify it as like a psychological thriller.
Psychological fucker is what this is.
No, it was funny. I was on oh my God, let me pull that up really quick. I was on what's that movie found it. Letterboxd. I was on Letterboxd earlier.
Yeah.
And oh my God, the comments for this movie.
What did they say?
Hold on. Who was it? Eli says 4.5 stars. A very light romantic comedy. Good for a first date. Oh my God.
Don't you ever think about watching this on the first date. You are not getting laid. You are not taking the woman home. Not at all.
Maria says, I think I just got fucked by a movie. Yes. If that's probably the most accurate description.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
And like in an uncomfortable.
In a very uncomfortable,
Fuck.
very just like I liked that, but like that was very intense.
It's
and
like-
very overwhelming.
There's no foreplay.
No
If
foreplay.
that's-
No foreplay.
If this movie, like if this movie was a sexual interaction, you're not lubed up. There was definitely no condom
It's
around.
like you're thrown in an orgy
Yes.
with a bunch of like really hot people, and
And-
you're like, okay, but you're also on LSD.
Yes. But it's also your first time.
It's also your first time.
But this was my third time watching it. It felt like it was my first time every
Yeah,
time.
So it's kind of like, whoa.
Whoa, I'm not ready for
Basically,
this.
Larry says, have you ever seen a story that begins with a gunshot and ends with a cum shot? No.
Nope.
Well, I just did. And it was one of the most horrifyingly beautiful psychedelic experiences I've ever had the pleasure of viewing in my life. And I agree with that.
Well put. Well put.
And the last one I'm going to read is Matt saying, enter the void. Well, it's not going to enter itself.
Stupid. Thank you, Letterboxd.
Right. Thank you, Letterboxd.
Thank you, Letterboxd. Here's the nitty gritty. This week we watched Enter the Void, a 2009 drama fantasy with a runtime of 2 hours and 22 minutes, which is also 142 minutes. That's a pretty long film. When I agreed to watch this movie with you, I think it was already like late at night, maybe 8 p.m., 9 p.m. yesterday, and I had to watch it before recording. I was like, I'm going to have to figure out a time to squeeze this in. So for full transparency, don't remember the last 30 minutes of this film. Could not finish it, so you're gonna have to help me out there.
Yeah. You know, it's weird because it doesn't feel that long just because of how like fast paced and sporadic. I think that's just my ADHD too, because like it kind of like was just like always capturing your attention, like, oh yeah, crazy shit happening all the fucking time.
You're never bored.
You're like, oh.
Also, the music is beautiful. The music, the main song that plays throughout is like "Air on a G String" is what it's called.
Yeah, the cinematography by Benoit Deby. Amazing job.
Impeccable job.
Holy shit, dude.
Like technically, it is just ridiculous. Most of this film is over the head shots.
Yeah.
Going through rooms.
Yeah. Like the entire visual aspect, like the CGI aspect too is pretty well done, but all the cinematography is like very well put as far as like from first person to third person.
Yeah.
In a sense of just like you like literally feeling like it's almost like you're playing a video game, just like changing the camera perspectives.
That's all it is.
And it's kind of weird because it's like, this is probably how it is in real life if you were to watch yourself in third person.
Yeah. Because we barely get to see Oscar's face. I think we only see it in the mirror.
Like very once in a while when he's turning and talking and every once in a while and like seeing it, watching himself in the mirror and stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of it, the cinematography is all of like messaging, the message of like the whole like afterlife experience and stuff like that. So
It's impeccable. It's really good.
you want to get in the synopsis thing?
Yeah, we'll do all of that. So this got a 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. This got a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. Greg, do you want to guess how many Google users approved of this movie?
I feel like low. I'm gonna shoot low because it's
go.
like it doesn't seem like an average normie Google thing. I'm
No.
gonna say like 60%.
Ooh, 84%.
That's a surprise.
People actually
honestly.
like it. Yeah, so a lot of people
That's
actually
a
really
surprise.
like it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those films that's like it's definitely like I feel like definitely a niche kind of film type thing that's like if you've done a lot of drugs and you've contemplated like existential crises of like afterlife and shit, you're gonna like this movie.
Yeah, but if you're a
But
nun,
if you're just like if you're like a normal person that's just like I like Star Wars.
yeah,
Yeah,
I love Frozen.
I really liked Disney movies. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, when Harry meets Sally,
Right.
Love that film.
Right.
Let me
This
check out Enter the Void.
not probably
not
for
for
you.
you. All right, here's the synopsis coming right at you. This psychedelic tour of life after death is seen entirely from the point of view of Oscar, played by Nathaniel Brown, a young American drug dealer and addict living in Tokyo with his prostitute sister, Linda, played by Paz de la Huerta. When Oscar is killed by police during a bus gone bad, his spirit journeys from the past, where he sees his parents before their deaths, to the present, where he witnesses his own autopsy, and then to the future, where he looks out for his sister from beyond the grave. This came out on September 24th, 2010 in the USA. The director, like we said before, is Gaspar Noe. Very controversial director. The only other film that I know him from is a film called Love. That movie, have you seen some of that movie, Love?
I think so.
It starts off with two naked people in the bed. Big surprise. The girl is jacking off the guy. And this is his real penis. I think it's his real penis. Check it out. You can find it on the internet, baddies. She's just stroking his dick for like 5 minutes. The opening scene's 5 minutes.
Hella awkward.
And he actually ejaculates. Yeah, in the film. Yeah. Like I said, stars Nathaniel Brown, Paz de la Huerta, Cyril Roy, and Ed Spear. Cinematography by Benoit Deby. That, like you had said, the budget is 12.4 million euro, and it was distributed by The Wild Bunch. This movie is crazy. Let's get into it. I have so much to say. How do you want to start off, man? This is nuts.
I just want to say, like, Gaspar Noé has been known for doing like very just like shock, like thriller movies. Mm-hmm. His other film before this, Irreversible, like has this like extremely like uncomfortable like RAPE scene.
Wow. I heard about that.
It's all like symbolic in like the way it's shot. It's very like in reverse and shit like that. It's weird. But at the same time, it's just like it has all this like crazy like messaging behind it. And then his most recent film, Climax, is more of like a weird like dance movie.
That sounds like theatrical. It's so different.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same shock value, but it's like in like a theater, like it's like a live performance, almost kind of weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he like I don't know. He's a very like quirky guy. And watching some of his interviews, I can't really tell if he's being like sarcastic or not about like what his personal idea was behind a lot of his films.
Yeah,
in general. Because when he originally was talking about one of his original interviews about this movie. He was originally talking about how he was on mushrooms in Italy and they had this movie playing in this theater. Lady in the Lake. It's this old 50s movie about investigator investigating this murder case, basically. And it's shot in POV. And I think it's one of the earliest like first films to be shot in like personal point of view. And that's a kind of like, it made him cry supposedly. And because of how beautiful he thought it was. And that's when he started writing for the movie when he was like 20 years old or something.
For this movie?
Yeah. Wow. So tripping balls on mushrooms in Italy, watching like an old timely film. Yeah. Sounds like a good time. But also pretty intense too at the same time. So it makes sense that where he went with this movie.
If that was his inspiration, yeah, 100%.
What I didn't find that he took seriously in his interview was that he said a lot of movies depict drug trips and a bad experience, and I was trying to do something more positive.
What?
I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not. I was like, what?
Has he watched his own film? Has he watched his own movie?
It was like
dude, right from the get, none of this is positive. This is one of the saddest movies I've ever seen.
Most intense movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude.
I thought was just absolutely fucking hilarious because, like, if anything, this is probably the most like terrifying experience on a drug trip.
You know when I was watching this? Like I said, I was at work. I was eating lunch. Lost my appetite immediately. Right. I forgot how like there's no like once upon a time, right? It just throws you straight into it.
Yeah. Like within the first 5 minutes. What's his face? I'm ready for any of the main characters. Oscar. Yeah. Oscar's like, let's do some DMT.
Yeah, he's just like
opens up like one of those little fake cans that you can find at a drugstore. Puts the rocks in his pipe and just smokes it.
Yeah. It made me so uncomfortable because like what's really sad and what was beautifully done about this was like the point of view of a drug addict that's like in it, and like you see the denial.
Yeah.
As he's packing the pipe of the DMT, he keeps on saying, "I'm not a junkie. No, Alex is a junkie. I'm not a junkie." Because his sister, played by Paz de la Huerta, was saying like, Alex is gonna turn you into a junkie and a Buddhist, and like it was really so weird. Sad. But I don't know. What do you think about like how the movie opens up?
I think, I think a lot of it in general. Well, I mean, skipping ahead a little bit, has to do with the trauma that he was experienced with his sister.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like going through all of these like affirmations of himself, like talking to himself. And so he's trying to escape through doing, like this DMT that he decides to smoke. And basically for an entire like 2 or 3 minutes just sees these crazy ass visuals of just like all these like fractal, like star like shapes of like, I don't know what the fuck to call
and
them.
How it's depicted in the movie is intense,
man. Oh my God. And I think that's like a lot of like the symbolizing of him trying to reflect on how he feels about his own life, in a sense of just him like trying to transcend, I guess you could say, his consciousness into like a better place, better, quote unquote, better
because
place.
Obviously he's not happy.
Yeah.
And obviously he is aware of his own childhood trauma, and everything he does is because of his childhood. He lives in Tokyo because we go back there, like it's during the flashback scene, he's talking with Linda, his sister, saying like, Mom and Dad said they're going to take us to Japan one day. That's why he's in Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
And like he's doing drugs to escape and feel good because he can't feel good sober because all he's thinking about is his childhood trauma, right? And it's like what is beautifully done with this movie is its storytelling, its ability to storytell within the story itself, and also its visual...
The visual aspect.
Beauty. It is beauty, even though it's also anxiety-inducing.
I think a lot of the storytelling is through more so the visual aspect instead of the dialogue. Because Gaspar said himself that a lot of the dialogue is actually improv.
Wow.
Like there's very little that's actually like scripted. Just for as far as like trying to direct the scenes goes, it's just like they're given like a few lines and just the rest is just to figure it out itself. So I think what he originally intended to do was to give what's his face, the cinematographer, like the most of like the just him and his creative outlook on what he wanted the movie to be visually and the experience to be, because like the movie itself is more so an experience than it is almost just
imagine actually watching this in theaters.
Right. Oh my God.
I would love to watch this in IMAX. I mean, I don't know if I would love to, but I think it's the way to do it.
I probably, honestly.
I would be tripping,
Because it like the amount of intensity, but that it's explained that is shown, it kind of explains the way he like copes with the loss of his parents, to the way his kind of feelings towards his sister, the way he's looking at like his own outlook on his life, to like how he looks at death, basically, like literally, if anything. And I think it does that part very well. If I were to critique it in any sort of way, I would say like just to like save some certain scenes for like certain parts to give more shock value. Yeah. But I mean, the whole entire movie is fucking shocking in itself.
That's the hard part.
But it's interesting though, because it kind of ties into the Tibetan book of death that his friend, the drug deal
regarding reincarnation.
Just kind of an asshole who basically sets him up to get killed.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's also another thing that kind of the Japanese police kind of went out of their way to shoot him for a drug bust.
It was weird. Okay, so like I said, I thought that was kind of weird. I don't recall the last 30 minutes, so I don't know how it wraps up necessarily. I don't know what happens to Alex. I don't know what happens to Linda. All I do know is that it was a bit odd that he was supposed to meet with Victor, who was like kind of his partner in crime, who would front him the money that he could use to actually get the drugs and distribute it, right? And they split it 50-50.
Yeah.
And then like he escapes into this bathroom in the void, which is like this like bar, right? And they shoot him. And now I'm thinking they shot him because he was yelling, "I have a gun. I'm gonna shoot. I have a gun." Is that why they shot him, or is there something in the last 30 minutes that I don't know?
I think it was that, but at the same time, like I don't know why he said he had a gun. Like I thought that was kind of,
especially if you know it's the cops out there.
I know. I'd rather just take the L. Just go to jail for that.
Go to jail.
It's not I mean, Japan is really strict on its drug policy, so he would be facing some time. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know why he went to the extent of saying that he had a gun.
Yeah, it was a little odd.
Which is very unnecessary. But at the same time, it was just fucked up because his friend basically set him up to get caught.
Yeah, Victor.
Victor.
What's odd is that oh no, not odd, but like what I do appreciate is the foreshadowing of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like for instance, the Book of Death that talks about reincarnation and like how Alex, the other guy with the long hair, the artist, was saying like supposedly like this, you see your life reflected upon you when you die, right? And literally minutes later, when they get to the void and he gets shot and he dies, it turns into this out-of-body experience where he's floating and he sees his own dead body in the bathroom. And the rest of the movie is supposedly Oscar seeing his life
in third person.
Yep.
Which they do really well visually.
Yeah. They play some of the same exact scenes in third person.
The part where he goes back to his like the childhood memories, it's like, it's interesting because it's like you like really want to hold close to those memories, which he really tried hard to do so. And you could see those memories like the most visually. They don't last as long as like the really traumatic parts, like right after the crash happens.
They play that multiple times
because the trauma is like what really he remembers the most, basically. And him getting separated from his sister by CPS
multiple times.
That fucking part made me cry.
Yeah.
The blood oath thing that he did with his sister. And his like weird incestuous love for his sister.
Can we break that down? Because like
kind of weird.
The movie opens up with them interacting, right? And at first, if you don't know who the characters are, you're thinking like this is like his significant other.
Yeah,
the
you
way
think
they're
it's his
talking
girlfriend
to
at
each
first.
other,
Yeah.
right? The way like she's dressed around him and all of that stuff. It's just like, oh, they're very comfortable with each other. It seems almost romantic until he says, like he's laying down, he takes the DMT and he says, "Oh, but she's my sister." I'm like, dude, that's your sister? That's your sister? Because I thought y'all were fucking, you know?
Right.
Shout out to that actress. She is a fantastic actress, Paz de la Huerta. She is in Boardwalk Empire and does an impeccable job. She supposedly got fired from that job because I think she was one of the accusers of Harvey Weinstein, and Harvey Weinstein did the Harvey Weinstein thing and got her fired. Also, on the set of some movie called Nurse 3D, I'm sure it didn't do well. She suffered like a very bad injury where one of the ambulances actually crashed onto set and like fucked her up.
Damn.
So shout out to her. I hope you're doing well. I don't really know how she's
I
doing.
hope
This was a few years ago, but like, you know, beautiful actress, wonderful actress. Let's break down their incestuous relationship. Like, how did their childhood trauma develop that? Do you have a theory?
I think it was his need to feel a connection, like a family connection, is what made him like love his sister to that extent. Because, I mean, like from like a psychological perspective, it's like, yeah, like experiencing traumas like that is gonna make you feel certain ways and necessarily towards certain people that you were close to, just because you didn't have that connection from your parents at all.
You find it,
and so you're trying to look for it in other sources or ways. So, which is like very sad, but at the same time, it's kind of weird.
But it's very weird. But it makes sense. I think what Gaspar was going for was like something that is weirdly actually innate within all of us. It's like the Oedipus complex, right? Like the only reason like we as like heterosexual males love boobs and we like to suck on titties is because we had to do that for survival purposes from our mothers, right? So it's this whole Oedipus complex type of thing. They literally show scenes of him hooking up with Victor's mom, the older lady, right?
Yeah.
And like he's like sucking on her boobs, and then like it transitions into like him as a baby sucking on his mom's boob, and like his mom being in the bathtub.
Very like a lot of people saying like in reviews for this movie saying how it's like connections to, or it's like a lot of Freudian psychology.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because a lot of Freudian dives within like, if you have a dream of a train going into a tunnel, that means you desire sex or some shit like that.
Yes.
It's very like weird, nuanced like things that kind of like are kind of awkward and discomforting.
Sigmund Freud was a very controversial
psychologist
that
and like it's like a lot of psychologists like, you know, study his work, but clearly it's not a lot of it is relevant today from what we know of psychology.
Take it for what it is.
Yeah, they take it for what it is. But I mean, he did a lot for the whole, you know, psychology and the whole study of it. So
yeah.
But I think it was interesting that Gaspar like really took that to heart and actually like kind of visually implicates that in a lot of different scenes.
It's not even subtle, man.
And even like the scene where they're on the roller coaster and the crash happens, that jump scared me because like it
I screamed.
Took me off. Yeah,
I was watching it a little bit with Melissa. She had just gone home from work.
Yeah,
and like I was about to like kiss her hello, but right before I went in for a kiss, or on my way to the kiss, I screamed. I just screamed at her face because I saw on the side of my eye. Oh my god, that's a full truck.
Right.
Because I don't know. I mean that was a crazy montage of scenes like when she first comes to Japan and like they seem really close, and I already had this like weird inkling of just like, you guys are siblings because it seems like you guys got a thing going on. Right. And then like she's like, you know, like very like when they hug, she like kisses him on the cheek, and then like the next time they hug, she kisses him on the neck, and then the next like shot of the montage, she's just like licking his ear and then biting his ear, and I'm like, are you guys siblings? Like this is insane.
Yeah.
And then like it turns into this, and it's the whole childhood trauma could form like unusual connections with your family if you had lost some family. Right?
And that's why they show the crash scene in multiple times. It's just because like how a lot of these situations that are kind of really weird and comfortable tie into this drama. And ideally it's like all ties back to also the Tibetan Book of Death, where like these things are like cycles. Like as far as like life goes. So that's why a lot of the repetition happens between like scenes from going forward in time and back in time and vice versa. Which I think they do very well as far as like the Tibetan Book of Death goes, because a lot of it talks about just like cycles of how to deal, what to experience after death and stuff like that. So, which I thought was pretty interesting. Cause like when the before scenes, when he's like talking with his Victor, you notice certain visual things like that, like the thing that he wrote on the wall. It says like, I want to live. Then like after he dies, it shows like in the third person, shows that like he's writing like, I want to die.
Wow.
There's like weird little things like in the background that are changed all of a sudden. In like the up to the scene where he gets back to the bar in third person, there's like instead of like the flashing TV, it's a weird video of like a fetus.
Whoa.
It's all these like literal things that like tie back into like the whole like rebirth cycle and shit like that, about trying to figure out if like was the life that he lived like really worth it, or was it just all leading up to the inevitable death that he was kind of expecting, like literally. Just because like the way his life was kind of spinning out of control, it's just kind of like that's how it made you feel visually too.
Yeah, everything was like, I think rebirth is one of like the main mantras and ongoing themes of this, like because like a lot of the scene transitions, like there's later on you see it goes back to like his dead body in the bathroom, and then like it's an overhead shot, and the camera keeps panning out, and it pans out, and it looks like you're going through like an organ, like like you're going through like a like you're being birthed out.
You're being born again, yeah.
And then like what pops out is a kid in a log. Do you remember that? It's a kid in a log, and like goes up to this playground where Linda's sleeping and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh wow, like that's just rebirth right there.
Rebirth, yeah.
And them talking about reincarnation and just like constantly being rebirthed and like in this same world as a different person over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like a very interesting movie.
Yeah. It's interesting, like the lifestyles too that they chose to like very on the nose with like how they dealt with the trauma.
Yeah.
Like how he went to become a drug dealer and she went to become like a stripper / prostitute.
Yeah.
So, which is sad and unfortunate, but that's how, like, if you don't get help, that's how
you deal with it.
That's how you deal with it. If you don't have like the father, parent, mother figure in your life to actually help you get through these certain parts in your life, you deal with them in your own like very like
chaotic and
self-destructive ways. Yeah. And this is a very obvious message of that. So, and I really appreciate for doing so in such a vulgar way, even though it is like a very vulgar way of doing so. Yeah. It's just like kind of like the implication of like how a lot of just how big of an impact that our childhood has on our mental health. Yeah. Being adults, and how we look at our other people in our lives and how we want to experience our own lives, So I really appreciate him for like really pushing that message in such like fuck you in your face type of way.
Yeah. In a very aggressive way.
Very aggressive way. So
I want to talk more about like just the overall cinematography, the color corrections that they use on just the palettes, the color palettes that they use with every scene, just like the neon lights mixed with very dark hues and like at times very saturated. It's all incredible and like makes me feel so uncomfortable. But like, I think what it does right is that it's making you feel something. Yeah. You might not like what that something is that you're feeling, but it's making you feel it.
Yeah. I think it's also the representation of like how much of his life is been as far as like the like different outcomes, like the dark times, the beautiful times, the intense times. Yeah. All in this, like, cause like the way they calm down the, like from the flashing to like the normal contrast to the regular intense colors to, especially when they walk into the room with all the love hotel, and him like showing him like the hotel and
Alex's flat. So like Alex is the guy with long hair that's an artist, and he has like all the paintings.
Flat,
and he has a flatmate, the Japanese guy that's making like the miniature neon version of Tokyo. Yeah, that was a beautiful scene.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene. I think it was also like in its own message within itself, because he himself, after he dies, sees the like literal view of Tokyo.
And do you remember in the beginning, he says, I wonder what Tokyo looks like from up there.
Yeah. Yeah. It all ties in. All these like little subtle things of just like how like these like messages from like the subliminal to the literal to like the like metaphysical, I want to say. Yeah. It's just like in repetition.
Beautifully done.
After again and again and again. It's overwhelming, but I mean, at the same time, like that was like the whole message in the meeting. So.
I mean, look at what this movie can do. It's one of those movies that, you'll feel like uncomfortable. It's very vulgar and aggressive and in your face, but like we can talk about it. We can dissect it.
I think Gaspar Noe went into this movie wanting it to be like a think piece, not just like a visual piece, but like he wanted you to like start a conversation with someone about it. It's interesting because when you look at a lot of the reviews of this movie, people either love it or fucking hate it.
Oh, there's no one that's just like, I didn't care for it.
There's no in between, honestly, on how people feel about this movie.
You're gonna feel something,
It's either you're gonna like love this movie and be like, wow, this is an experience, or just be like, oh my God, this is just drugs and sex and flashing lights.
Oh my God. I was like, I think today was probably, like watching this just made me the least horniest I've ever been.
Right.
It shows a lot of sex, but all of the sex is just so like the scene where Linda, the sister, like she gets her stripping moments after Oscar's shot and killed.
Yeah.
Makes me so uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable because like they make the place look so dirty. And even after that, Mario, who's the Asian guy she's seeing, first of all, Asian man named Mario, crazy. That's never heard of it.
Yeah.
But it goes into the scene where like they start having sex. You see the guy's dick and like having sex right there. And like she's getting a phone call from Alex and like doesn't want to like pick it up because she's getting licked on. And she finds out. And this is all in like one shot. She calls or she listens back to the voicemail that's left afterwards and she just starts crying hysterically.
Yeah, like the whole contrast of that scene from going like raunchy to dirty to depressing is just like that itself was just like very just like oh shit, like damn.
Yeah. it switches back from like sex lust straight to like death and despair.
Death and despair. Yeah, very quickly. Yeah. And it just, and then him like seeing that, like knowing that this is all Oscar's point of view, seeing this kind of adds to that kind of disturbance. Like, oh, I'm watching my sister do it.
I'm watching my sister.
And then find out about me dying. Like, oh God. Like, just like adds to this whole other factor. Just like, fuck, man. Like, damn. Like, but like, what do you don't feel anything because you're dead. Like, you know,
what can
you're just a consciousness, just experiencing all of this, just floating, going back and forth through like your past events and current events. And just like, man, like you don't know how to feel at first, but then like as soon as it gets you thinking, it's just like, oh, like you start to understand the message. So like the movie ends like, I don't know. I feel like the movie could have ended a little bit better than it's just a big fucking orgy scene.
Is that how it ends?
Yeah, kind of just like.
Can I guess? Is the orgy scene like? It's like in that building.
It's like you know. Have you ever seen those like how a baby is born type of like Discovery Channel like type of things? Yeah, it's like literally that, like, except you see the cum shot of like the dick coming inside the vagina, and then come.
Is that what you see
on the camera?
Stop! It's like.
Yeah. And then the baby starting to grow and be born. And it's Oscar, I think, basically. Well, that's
being
what
reincarnated?
Being rebirthed as his sister's son.
Whoa.
Basically.
That's right. Okay, so around the place where I stopped was where she started peeing on the pregnancy test, and she was like, I can't read it. It's in Japanese. And I'm like, okay. I wonder if she's pregnant with Mario's baby, right? Yeah. Which is also crazy because do you remember in the first scene, he's talking with Alex saying Linda's going to go see Mario. And he's like such a fucking douchebag. I swear, if she gets pregnant with his baby, I will kill that baby. And what is ironic, what you just told me is that he is rebirthed as that baby.
I think it's Victor's baby because like you see her having sex with.
Wait, Victor or Alex? Alex is the one with the long hair. Victor's the kid.
Oh no, Alex. Sorry.
Okay.
No, Alex. God, dude, I'm so like I don't know how you guys are so good with names.
I've just had to like really make sure I know these names for these moments, dude.
Yeah. So no, I definitely think it's
Alex's
baby. Because you see her basically sleeping with him.
Interesting.
Before. And and then him being born again.
Crazy rebirth.
Very, very oddly interesting. I don't really have any like takes. I don't really think any like a lot of the dialogue scenes have like that much as far as adding to the plot of the movie, except for like kind of progressing of like explaining how he got to those certain points, like after he died, basically. Because it does a lot better explaining like what happened like after he died, because it goes back to reliving those moments.
Yeah, we see it
instead of like beforehand.
Well, because beforehand we don't have any
POV.
Context of who's who.
No, not really.
There's like it's not dialogue driven. It's not a Quentin Tarantino movie.
No.
It's really, like you said before, just really visually driven. We have to see what's going on.
Yeah.
They're not talking about their past. We see his past.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. All the flashbacks were crazy. I mean,
I want to say I feel like they could have done a little bit better as far as like saving like, well, I don't want to say saving, but like doing like a lot of the flashback stuff at the end. I mean, I get why they were doing the cut to the flashbacks in between, but I feel like if they saved the flashbacks towards like the end and did a lot of the just like the shock value scenes, just left those in between. I think I feel like would have carried the same exact feeling without getting lost. Because at some moments you're like, wait, what?
What was that? That was
right.
so fast,
right? Right. But at the same time, it's just like you see why
they did it.
Why they did that in that way. So
yeah, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that Gaspar like planned every scene and pieced this together without intention, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything. I don't know. It's too intricate of a movie for it to like have not had meaning at all. Like at any moment, every scene had meaning. Like, cause I think it was heartbreaking to see like do you remember the scene like where he says like, hey, these are tickets to a club. You want to go to a club? And so they start going to the club and like he gives her ecstasy for the first time. And that's where she meets Mario and Mario gets her drunk and whatnot. And he doesn't like Mario. And like you just see, I don't know. It's like depressing. Like you start seeing, I don't know. Do you like how it was pieced together? Would you rather have started with her arriving to Tokyo and then like like if the storytelling was linear as opposed to like very Christopher Nolan where it's just like
back and forth.
Yeah, present, past, future.
Personally, the way I feel like this film like should have been, I think it should have been linear in order to better explain the cycle of life of rebirth.
Yeah. But
at the same time, like cuz I feel like the moments that he spent with his sister, it was awkward, but it was beautiful. Like the whole scene where of him like hanging out with her and like the whatchamacallit, the cool like mirror shop. I don't even know what the fuck to call it. With all the pottery and stuff like that. That was like such a gorgeous scene, the way it was shot and stuff.
However, I could go without her saying, can you see that I've grown up? Do I look like a woman now?
Yeah. Like,
and then
I don't know. Like that's why I'm like, okay, like he should have like put in some dialogue.
Yeah.
Instead of just made them improv it, because they obviously like were kind of just like, okay, I'm
super
say
uncomfortable
weird things. Yeah.
I was watching
some
that
parts
with Melissa, and Melissa was like, "So that's his sister?"
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like dialogue you would hear from like a porno scene.
Yeah.
Like kind of like bad acting, really corny and on the nose.
Yeah.
But
this is all dialogue from a stepsister
right
Pornhub scene.
Right. Basically.
Just turn into
I'm
like
stuck in the dryer, help me.
Oh my God.
Type of thing.
Thanks for buying my ticket to Tokyo. I look like a woman now?
Do I look mature now?
Yeah. Do you think mom and dad would be proud?
Yeah, because it's like because those parts I feel like could have been done like just a little bit better.
How do you think they would have been if they didn't have this childhood trauma, like this movie? I don't know. It's just like,
I think they would have been stuck in America.
They would have been fine. They would have had a family. Because, I mean, what sucks is that CPS separated them, right? As opposed they couldn't have been like orphans together. Mm-hmm. And like, it was heartbreaking every single time she said, you promised you'd never leave me. Yeah. You're never, ever going to leave me, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
He kind of technically did.
Yeah.
Except we went to the place that their parents told them they would go. So
yeah. I mean, he kept his promise. Like he says, I miss her every single day, even after all of these years, and they were still able to meet up. How old are they in this, do you think?
I think they're like in their mid-20s.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
That's what I think. Because I'm trying to think what led to the point where they don't really, because they have no like pre-explaining of where he, like everything that like it was just mainly just childhood, and then that point there was no like him being a teenager at all.
That's
like
it.
Or like what happened. All of that was just blank.
Because I think the earliest memory that we see, so it goes from like his childhood memories, and the next thing we jump to is him talking to Alex, the artist.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's who got him into drugs, into doing drugs, because he was like, he's never taken acid before. He had never done anything before. I don't know, man. It's, and like all of like the subtle things, the way that it's just organized, like after the montage of scenes where he's sucking on tits, crazy.
Yeah.
It goes to the scene like where Alex is smoking a joint, and he's just like, you know what smoking reminds me of? Reminds me of sucking on a date. And I'm like, damn, dude, like what the hell?
But like, and at the same time, I'm kind of like that was just unnecessary. Like unnecessary.
Do you think that could have been improvised, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, this is like, it makes more sense that it was improvised, because I'm like it's kind of just like weird off note like things to say. Like that just kind of make you uncomfortable. Like, oh, okay.
So is that your only critique of the film? Is that like maybe there could have just been some concrete dialogue written in the script?
Yeah. I feel like I wish there was a little bit more explaining to like where he got to the point where he was too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it does like skip a lot, and I wish there was more explaining where he got to, like how he got to Japan and stuff like that. Because there's very little explanation.
I was reading somewhere, like in an article, saying that the way he got to Japan is that whoever he was adopted by, he like had come into some sort of like modest trust fund, and so he got some trust fund money that he inherited.
Yeah.
And that's how he got some money to go to Japan. And then he started becoming a drug dealer, and he got the money to get his sister a plane ticket over there.
Yeah. But like, what was it in his afterlife that he did not want to flash back to, memory wise, that he didn't find important in that time period, you know?
We didn't see. Yeah, there's a big gap.
There's a big gap. So I was like, it made me wonder, like, was that also traumatizing that he just blacked out? Or
maybe all he wants to remember is his memories with Linda.
With Linda. So
because everything we see is with Linda.
With Linda, yeah. And his tie with Linda, and the importance that Linda is as far as like a symbol and figure to him.
Because I think that's the only... Linda is his only tether to what his life was prior to his parents' death.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after his parents' death is just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what he's always wanted around. That's the thing that's made him feel safe, because he hasn't felt safe since before his parents died.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe that's why we're only seeing memories of him with Linda.
Yeah, it's just a comfort thing for him. Really.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
It's just been, other than that, it's just been drugs.
Yeah, dude.
It's just been comforting.
Yeah.
So
shout out to the cinematography of this film for being able to like, I don't know. I've never done DMT. I don't know if that's what it feels like.
Right. It's funny. I was watching a review of someone who's done DMT and has watched this movie.
Crazy.
She was saying how like the DMT experience, like the visuals weren't the same, but how he experienced them was the same. If that makes any sense. And how the movie is kind of like a DMT trip.
So it said that
it's
that was
very
pretty
like
accurate.
out of body, like just experience the entire time is like the explanation of like the DMT trip itself.
Yeah.
And being on drugs was on that kind of drug is the movie.
Out of body experience. The entire movie.
And the entire movie.
It's
kind of
crazy, dude. It's either like these are the three perspectives.
Yeah.
First person, third person, or like Hawkeye's view over the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, crazy.
It goes from like I think a lot of it has to do with like ego death too.
What do you mean with? I know that as a Ty Dolla $ign song, but
right.
What is it?
But like just which is also kind of like a Buddhist thing. It's not like
what
really
is ego
serious.
death? What do you mean?
It's like giving yourself up, like your personality, your being, everything that you think of yourself up, like is like given up and just letting yourself go, like not only like physically but like emotionally and mentally, up to like this feeling of like a higher being, kind of just like like having an out-of-body experience, basically.
Literally dissociating yourself from your ego.
Yeah, having a dissociative experience from like what you are as a person and as a human, and just looking yourself as a third-person perspective at yourself, and just reevaluating kind of like who you are as a person in life. And then they took that, but also took it literally to like actual death. How just like you sing yourself afterwards. But it's unfortunate because he had to experience that in actual death instead of trying to figure it out within his own life in a literal sense, and trying to see himself where he was.
Because a lot of people say that like changing your ways, like getting a second chance, like is a rebirth within your own life.
Yeah.
But this way, the only way he could get a rebirth.
This way was most literal sense, was just actual rebirth.
Oh, you have to die and get like birthed again.
Yeah.
As a new baby.
Yeah. Was maybe like the reset button for him. Yeah. So
I don't know.
I think that was like another like symbolism thing for
everything. Symbolism all throughout this movie.
All this movie.
Baddies, check this movie out.
Yeah.
If you are a thinker, if you want something, like there's no way you could just play this on in the background while you're cooking food.
This is going to tie you in.
You're going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to dissect it. Eat before you watch this movie. Yeah. And don't
look at this movie for any like amazing Oscar-winning acting scenes either.
No. Because the guy that plays Oscar, the main character, not that great of an actor.
No, not really. I mean, even with his few lines that he has,
he does sound like a porn actor.
Yeah, he's all like, "Oh, okay,
but she's my sister."
But she's my sister. Like very just like kind of awkward. Doesn't really know how to express himself.
Yeah,
like.
He is very awkward.
How am I? Am I sad?
Even the way he looks, he's the most nondescript looking guy in the world. He looks like a video game main character that doesn't talk that much.
Yeah, exactly.
That looks like like what's a video game main character that doesn't really like he looks like the main character from Bully. Do you remember Bully?
Yeah.
That Rockstar video game?
Yeah.
Just a shaved head kid that looks like nothing.
Yeah.
He looks like nothing.
And also acts like an NPC.
Yes. Even though he's the most playable character in this movie.
Yeah.
We're playing as Oscar.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Being the main character, but acting like an NPC.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What do you rate this movie? Out of 5.
Yeah, 4 to 5.
Yep.
Honestly,
I'm going to rate it the same. Dialogue could have been better. I didn't even realize it to be an issue until you've pointed it out. I'm just like, actually, there's no dialogue-driven scenes.
There's no memorable moments really as far as like the acting goes. I think the best actors were probably Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So is that your best person on set?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Not Gaspar? I might have to give it to Gaspar.
Gaspar, yeah. Actually, yeah. You know what? I
in terms of just making the damn movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because it's like, yeah. No, you're right.
Hey, no. It's a subjective thing. If you want to give your best person on set award to Alex,
it's kind of just like one of those things. It's just like this movie has like the like I said again, like the dialogue has not like much meaning to it.
Not at all.
So
they're focusing on the visual aspect, dude.
Just like sit in there for the experience. Don't focus too much on like explaining what it is instead of just experiencing it, like what's going on.
Yeah.
Visually and that's it, really.
Yeah.
It's funny because the cinematographer, which is face,
right here.
God, it's some
Benoit Debie.
He does like a lot of music video.
I can see that.
He does a lot of music video stuff.
That's probably why it's so technical.
It's very technical.
But to do that for 2.5 hours straight, that is a feat within its own.
I mean, he's done stuff for like Beyonce.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Lady Gaga.
Good for
like
him.
A bunch of different like famous like other musicians and stuff like that. So
good for him.
In that aspect, he did a really good job as far as like the symbolizing everything, every little nook and cranny. So
he also did the cinematography for Gaspar's earlier film Irreversible, like you had said.
Yeah, Irreversible too.
He had done it for The Runaways and Spring Breakers. Oh, I remember Spring Breakers.
Spring Breakers too.
Yeah, with James Franco. I could see that. Okay. Yeah, he might be my best person on set. Is him.
Right.
Is Benoit.
The cinematographer is the best person on set.
Dude, honestly, killing it.
Visually.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And this movie is like what really got me more into like more like cinematography and like photography.
I'm glad you said that and not illegal drugs.
Right. I mean that the whole out of body experience thing was pretty close to like how out of body of experience that I've witnessed. So
You've had an out of body experience before?
yeah, the one of the only times I've ever done LSD. Yeah,
crazy, damn, and it's
Pretty
like
intense.
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say not as visually intense. Mine was more of like me feeling like I was going through a roller coaster of colors, which kind of like explains the whole like title sequence of just like colors, flashing colors. But yeah, like you do go through and I wish they did more as far as like experiencing like the trips of like
Because we
all the
only
drugs.
see that first.
We
It's
only
like
see that for the first 5
just
minutes.
right when he hits the DMT.
But I mean, otherwise, it's like filmed very beautifully, and I love how it's like handheld.
Yeah,
It looks handheld.
Yeah.
And it's not like on like an actual like stand, tripod stand.
Well,
where
they
he
had
has
to make it seem like
holding
if it's gonna be POV, it has to. But they still made it to the point where it's not like Blair Witch
And
Project.
even in the third person, you can tell he's just walking with a camera behind him.
Love
like
it.
it's like another person walking behind him.
Yeah,
Which
makes it more organic.
Yeah, which makes it ties you in way more like visually, as like you actually being there and experiencing what he's going through. So
good.
yeah,
This movie's it's a pretty crazy trip. Let me look at it. If you have a premium subscription to Sling, I don't know anyone with a premium subscription to that. I had to rent this on Amazon, so I did that because I like to help out. Enter the Void. Yeah, check it out, baddies. This is like my third time watching it. I don't know if I've ever finished it. I really don't think I did because I would get sick just watching it. But still, really artsy, worth the watch.
Yeah,
I
definitely. I put it on a bucket list of must-sees.
Any last words that you want to say about the movie before we get out of here, dude?
Not really. As far as that though, like I think it's like ties into like this movie ties in also to like what we're talking about today as far as like mental health.
Yes.
And you know, reaching out to people for help and trying to talk to people. Not sketchy people that are trying to sell you drugs.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Talk to friends. Talk to friends that you trust.
Talk to family. You know, talk to loved ones. You know, reach out to people because it's important. Like this movie shows, like the outcomes of
childhood trauma, man.
Childhood trauma
in
self-destruction.
general.
So I think that's important.
Yeah,
and I really like that message. So
even if the message is packaged in a 2.5 hour long acid trip.
Yeah. Basically.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
But yeah, thanks for bringing up this movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, never thought I'd do this movie on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I think I've just it's escaped my mind, but I'm glad I watched it again. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Baddies, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, any last words for the baddies? Look into your camera and leave them with a message.
I love you all. Stay safe. Stay positive. Go touch grass, you nerds.
Go touch grass, you nerds.
But yeah, stay safe, stay positive.
Yeah.
Like I said, talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Doctors recommend like 7 to 8 hugs a day.
Get some hugs. But
in.
also, wash your hands.
Eat healthy. Also wash your hands. Wear a mask if you feel like you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell someone if you love them. Tell them I love you.
I love that,
but not in a creepy way.
Yeah.
Don't tell it to a random person.
Don't say it to your teacher.
Make sure consent is important too.
Yeah, you can't just
but yeah,
say it in the grocery store.
Yeah, tell your loved ones you love them, and show them that you love them, and show them that you care.
Yeah, love it, dude. I love you.
Love you too, man.
I love you. All right. Baddies, we're out of here. We'll see you guys next time. Greg, I'll see you next time because you'll be back for sure.
I'll be back.
He'll be back. And check out the Highly Relevant that came out on Tuesday. Other than that, take it easy. Be safe. We'll see you around. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
It can't be that bad. Oh, 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 it can't be that bad.